Good afternoon. Good afternoon. This is Charles Coachman, and this is Bay Area Let's Talk Music. Bay Area Let's Talk Music. I am Charles Coachman. You can reach me at 408-439-0766 by text or cell. And you can email us at bayarea.letstalk@gmail.com. bayarea.letstalk@gmail.com. I have also got a page that I call the Soundtrack to My Life. The Soundtrack of My Life Facebook page, where we will be posting music after this show. And you'll get to see some of the music that we've talked about. And we're going to be playing some music in a little bit. And we will put the full videos on from that. So welcome. And let's take a look. I like to start each of my shows, and we have three shows. We do a Bible study in the morning, 6 a.m., readings from the Bible. 9 o'clock on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, we do Coachman on Real Estate. And then at 3 p.m., we do Bay Area Let's Talk Music. Bay Area Let's Talk Music. Music on, world off. So let's start out the show like we normally do. Happy birthday shout out. And this is a young lady that I have known since she was a young girl. And that is Marissa McDonald, the daughter of great friends of mine, Chris and Sharice Marr. Marissa McDonald is married to other friends of mine, Travis McDonald, their son. Travis McDonald is her husband, sons of Mike and Mary McDonald. And they are a terrific young couple, 2 children of their own, and they have adopted 3 children. So they have got their hands full, but God is watching out for them. So Marissa McDonald, happy birthday to you. Wishing you all the best on your big day, and just wishing you great things because you deserve them. And if it's your birthday out there, happy birthday to you, but especially Marissa. Happy birthday, young lady. All right, let's dig in real quick. I want to talk about the companies that I use, and that is the Grow Live Academy. GrowLiveAcademy.com. That is a Ken Walls company. It is an awesome company. It is a great platform if you want to learn how to go live and you want to grow your business by going live. This is the company that can help you out with that. And I want to make sure, whoa, what did I do? I got rid of it. And I did not mean to do that. And so one of the other companies that we're using is StreamYard.com. That's a platform that we are using to go live with right now. And then one of the ways that we keep in contact with our clients is by utilizing Hippo Video. Now, Hippo Video, we just send an email to our clients and friends, and we just put a video to it. They don't have to download. They don't have to upload. They just press play and go. And you can learn about StreamYard and Hippo Video on the Grow Live in the Grow Live Academy. So check those out. GrowLiveAcademy.com, StreamYard.com, and HippoVideo.com. Check them all out. They are awesome, awesome companies. All right, let's get this going once again. Let's pop myself out of there. Let's put this in. Now, let's turn to This Day in Music. This Day in Music. It's This Day in Music, but you know what? I've been looking forward to this day because we're going to be talking about one of my favorite groups, my absolute favorite American rock band. We're going to be talking about them today. Let's see. Ronald Isley of the Isley Brothers, on this date in 1941. Born on this date in 1941. You got to remember the Isley Brothers. Maybe a little song called Twist and Shout. Maybe a little song called This Old Heart of Mine. And then this hot song, It's Your Thing. Do what you want to do. So the Isley brothers and Ronald Isley, happy birthday to you. And then John Dalton. John Dalton, you may never have heard his name, but he was a bass player with the Kinks. The Kinks had a couple big hits. Think of a couple. You really got a hold on. You really got me. Not you really got a hold on me. That would be a completely different genre. You really got me. And then Waterloo Sunset. And they had so many other big hits. So, John Dalton, happy birthday to you. 1948, Leo Sayer had a couple of big hits, but probably his biggest is called When I Need You. When I Need You. And Stan Lynch, drummer with the Tom Petty Band. He was around for quite a while with the Petty Band. Had some huge hits, but a couple of them are Refugee and I Won't Back Down. So, Stan Lynch, happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. On this date in 1972, a young rapper named Notorious B.I.G., for whatever reason, they don't even have his name in here. Notorious B.I.G. was born on this date. He had, quite a few big hits in the rap world. I am not part of the rap world. I have no idea about the rap world. But he died, unfortunately, March 9th, 1997. So rest in peace, young man. All right. In 1986, on this date, 1986, oh my goodness, what am I talking about? 1966, the Mamas and the Papas, their album, If You Can Believe Your Eyes and Ears, went to number 1 on the U.S. album chart. The Mamas and the Papas. You know what? They were one of those groups that in the mid-60s, if you were my age, you started loving their songs. You started loving their songs early because that's what your parents were listening to. And boy, I got a lot of it on KFRC. Being a Bay Area boy, always got a lot of it. 1977, Rod Stewart was at number 1 on the UK charts with the double A side, I Don't Want to Talk About It, and First Cut Is the Deepest. So, Rod Stewart, still love you, man. Still love you. Of course, now he thinks, well, don't you think I'm sexy? Well, of course he does. Of course he does. 1985, Jimi Hendrix gold discs were stolen from the Electric Ladyland Studios in California. How the hell does that happen? Come on now. In 1980, Joe Strummer of The Clash was arrested in Hamburg, Germany for smashing his guitar over the head of the member of the audience. I guess that's one way to say, we killed him. We killed him. We killed that night. He was released after an alcohol test proved negative. So, if he had been drunk and beat the guy up, probably jail time. But because he was sober, you're out of here. Go, man. 1983, David Bowie goes to number 1 on the U.S. single charts with Let's Dance. Man, that's a song that I love. Let's Dance. And let's see, is there anything else that we want to talk about? Hootie and the Blowfish went to number 1 in 1995 with Cracked Rear View. This album sold over 15 million copies. It was the number 1 selling album on the charts. In 2000, Whitney Houston started a 2-week run at number 1 on the UK album charts with their greatest hits. And, her story was just a sad one. One of the saddest ones that I know of. And we went to listen to the real story of Whitney Houston told by her family. And family and friends, and it was just a sad time. Now, we're on to the part that I wanted to talk about. Let's see real quick. Okay. Let's see. We're going to talk about the Doors. The Doors. With their balance, and I'm just reading from a book. I'm going to read this straight from a book on this part. With their balance of experimentalism and pop savvy, as well as frontman Jim Morrison's moody, provocative lyrics and persona, The Doors was one of the hottest American rock bands of the 60s. From their founding in 1965 to Morrison's death in 1971, the group became known both for their alluring yet menacing music and for their rebellious, antagonistic stage antics. During their tenure with Morrison, the Doors never had a steady bass player. In concert, organ player Ray Manzarek would play the keyboard bass. For their studio work, the band recruited a number of musicians to handle the bass duties. One of these was blues rocker Lonnie Mack, whose aggressive guitar style influenced Jeff Beck and Stevie Ray Vaughan, among many others. Another was Harvey Brooks, who also played on Bob Dylan's seminal rock album, Highway 61. That's the beginning of our Doors. So let's talk about the Doors. How did they first get going? And I just want to cover this real quick. The Doors. And here's kind of how it started. Jim Morrison and his friend Ray Manzarek met at UCLA's film school. Film school. So Jim Morrison and Ray Manzarek met at film school. They kind of lost contact with each other. But then one day, Ray's out kicking back on the beach. And who walks up but Jim Morrison? Jim Morrison. And they started talking, and they said, you know what? They asked Jim what he had been, Ray asked Jim what he had been up to, and he goes, well, you know, I'm writing a little bit of poetry, writing a little bit of music, and I'm going to give you the song that they first covered. And that this was the song that when Ray Manzarek heard this, he goes, man, we got to start a rock band. Man, we have to start a rock band. Let's swim to the moon. Let's climb through the tide. And take off, even back off. Sleeps too high. Let's swim it's our time to try. Well, I think that's enough for that. We got to stop that. So, Jim Morrison. Those were the lyrics that got the Doors kicked off, that got the band going. Let's talk a little bit about the band members themselves. And let's come on down. Jim Morrison. The Lizard King. They got the name of the Doors from Aldous Huxley's book called The Doors of Perception. And they all agreed on it. Jim Morrison was born in December 8th, 1943. Unfortunately, he passed away in the summer of 1971 at the age of 27. But during that time that the Doors were around, Jim Morrison was iconic. There was nobody in rock music that was quite like Jim Morrison. So they're talking about, and this is an article from the Doors website, constantly challenging censorship, conventional wisdom. Morrison's lyrics delved into primal issues of sex, violence, freedom, and the spirit. He outraged authority figures, braved intimidation and arrest, and followed the road of excesses. Followed the road of excess, as one of his muses, the poet William Blake, famously put it, toward the palace of wisdom. So let's read on here. Over the course of 6 extraordinary albums and countless boundary-smashing live performances, he inexorably changed the course of rock music and died at 1971 at the age of 27. He was buried in Paris, and fans from around the world continued to make pilgrimages to his grave. Ray Manzarek, co-founder of The Doors, keyboardist for The Doors, the guy was just unreal on those keyboards. Those keyboard beats can keep you going. I know. I have driven hundreds of miles listening to Ray Manzarek just bang away on the keyboards. It's something like that I've never heard before. And so Ray Manzarek, he was born on February 12th, 1939. Ray Manzarek passed away in May 20th, 2013. So just 8 years ago, Ray Manzarek passed away. Now, John Densmore was the real beat and the driving force on the drums. He played some awesome music. He is still around, and he was a very versatile drummer. He played all sorts of different music, knew all sorts of different music, so he could line up and pound those skins like no one before. Born in December 1st, 1944, and he is still with us, thank goodness. Now, Robbie Krieger. Now, Robbie Krieger was a guy that played his guitar, and he was phenomenal. Some of the music that came out of that, and he wrote The Doors' first big hit. Wrote their first big hit, and it was just an incredible song. Let's share that right now. See if we can pop that up there. I want to make sure that we are ready. We're not ready. Let's go. Let's get this thing ready. What are we doing? Let's share. Share screen. Share. Let's get up there. And let's go. Now, this was written by Robbie Krieger. First song he ever wrote. First song he ever wrote. Jim just said, hey, man, just write what you're living. Write what you're feeling. Here we go.
You know that it would be untrue. You know that I would be a liar if I was to say to you, come get much higher. Come on, baby, love my fire. Come on, baby, love my fire. I just said to fire.
So, how is that for a song to come out of the gates? Light My Fire, from the first Doors album, written by a young man that had never written a song before. But Robbie Krieger did. And Robbie Krieger wrote most of the big hits that the Doors had. He wrote some phenomenal hits. So, with a flair for the wicked bottleneck slide, exploratory solos, and gut bucket grooves, guitarist Robbie Krieger brought a stinging, sinuous intensity to the sound of the Doors, but he is also a key songwriter in the band and penned some of their biggest hits, notably their mesmerizing #1 hit, Light My Fire. Hello, I Love You. Don't You Love Her Madly? Robbie Krieger. man, what a sensation. What a sensation. He was born on January 8th, 1946. And thankfully, he is still with us. Now, I wanted to talk about the Doors albums. The Doors albums that they had. And let's talk about it. The Doors came out in 1967. They had some terrific hits on it, including Light My Fire. Strange Days also came out in 1967. Waiting for the Sun came out in 1968. The Soft Parade came out in 1969. Morrison Hotel came out in 1971. And then LA Woman, the last album that was released while Jim was alive, LA Woman in 1971. One of the greatest rock albums of all time. Now, after Jim died, the Doors continued to play. They came out with a couple of other albums. Other Voices, they did it without Jim. And that was 1971. Full Circle, they came out in 1972. And then in 1978, they used Jim Morrison's reading, and they backed it up on an album called An American Prayer. Now, there have been many other albums that have been released since, but there were only 6 that were released while Jim Morrison was alive. Now, I really haven't taken a look at Other Voices and Full Circle, but I have certainly listened to American Prayer. I was a little bit too young to catch the Doors while they were at the top. In 1971, I was only in 6th grade. But by the time I graduated from high school and a couple of years after, the Doors were my favorite band. They put out some music that was incredible, and it was good for long road trips. And I just loved them. Now, let's go ahead and play a few of their songs. And now, here's one of them. And I'm going to go ahead and get ourselves set up to share again. Here's one that I have loved, especially for those long road trips. Especially because these guys kick some tail. Let's go ahead and start it.
Ladies and gentlemen, from Los Angeles, California, The Doors.
The Doors, Los Angeles, California. Roadhouse Blues. Listen to that beat.
I'll keep your eyes on the road, your hand upon the wheel. Go to the road, that's gonna have a real good time.
Got to stop that there. Don't want to get in any trouble. Trying to keep that down, and I may have been in trouble anyway. But Roadhouse Blues. What a magnificent song. That song kept me going for a long time. I would just loop that song. Keep your eyes on the road and your hands upon the wheel. Going to the roadhouse. Gonna have a real good time. Hey, Sean Choate, how you doing? Good to see you, Sean. Thank you for joining us. All right. Now, I want to go on to another song that they had, which was just a terrific song, and it comes off, let's make sure that I have this right, the Soft Parade album. I want to make sure that I have that right, the Soft Parade album. Now, this was another song where they did something that was a little bit different. They had strings behind them. Well, let's see. Was that the song or not? I don't believe so, but this was another that Robbie Krieger played that he wrote, and just a terrific sounding song. Some of the best music of all time. But let's take a listen to this. Share this out again. Get it all set up. Sharing is so much fun. And let's let her see what we got. And this is not the song that I was thinking of, but this is another great song written by Robbie Krieger.
Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game. Hello, I love you, won't you tell me your name? Hello, I love you, let me jump in your game. She's walking down the street like you wearing high shoes. Do you think you'll be the guy to make the queen of an angel side? Hello.
So we got to end that there. Don't want to get kicked off. Some of the best music ever. Some of the greatest music ever. Now, 1971, a rough time. And from the late 60s into the 70s, Jim Morrison's life kind of spiraled out of control. Too much drugs, certainly too much drinking. He was a wild man. Got busted for obscenity. Looked like he may end up spending some jail time. But he was out on bail, released on his own, and he took off to Paris so he could get away from all the trappings and all the mess that he was in back home. And a short while later, he died. And it's just a tragic story. But, you know, he had a couple of more big hits that came out of the L.A. Woman album. There is L.A. Woman. Think about it. Think about the L.A. Woman album. Let's take a look at it real quick. L.A. Woman, and I just want to see if we can pop that up. Can't even get it out of there. But L.A. Woman, let's see if I can find something else over here. Song from L.A. Woman. You had Love Her Madly. And I want to just make sure that I've got these. You had The Changling, Love Her Madly, Been Down So Long, Cars Hiss By My Windows, L.A. Woman, La America, Hyacinth House, Crawling King Snake, Wasp, The Wasp, Texas Radio, and Riders on the Storm. If those weren't some songs that would have just encapsulated everything from the late 60s into the early 70s, this was one of the best albums ever. It's still, the first album and the last album are my favorite albums. Just full of terrific music. And I'm going to go ahead and play one last song before we call it a day, because this is one of the best songs ever, a true rocker, and was written again by Robbie Krieger, and a story about his girlfriend and some of the problems that they were having right at that moment. And if I'm not mistaken, she went on to become his wife. So let's see if we can find it. And I'm going to go ahead and let this play for a few moments, and let's see what we got.
Don't you love her badly? Don't you need her badly? Don't you love her way? Tell me what you say. wanna be her daddy. Don't you love her face? Don't you love her as she's walking out the door? Like she did 1,000 times before.
Love Her Madly. One of the greatest rock songs ever, as far as I'm concerned, and certainly one of the best by The Doors. But The Doors had so many hit songs. And you know what? Tragically cut short because of the loss of their front man. This was a story that, happened to so many bands. Happened before The Doors, happened since The Doors. And people are affected by it. Now, thousands of people go over to visit where Jim Morrison passed away at. They go to the cemetery where he was buried at. Just like a lot of different legends, people say that Jim Morrison's not in there. Jim Morrison's still alive. But you know what? Jim Morrison had his time. He was a hot burning candle and burned out quick. But that is a little bit about The Doors, my favorite American rock band. Now I'm wearing an Eagles t-shirt. The Eagles are my second favorite band. Second favorite American band, but my first is the Beatles. Second is The Doors. The Doors, American band. They were, to me, only around for a very short time. 6 short years, 6 albums. They were awesome. They were awesome. Well, this is Charles Coachman. This is Bay Area Let's Talk Music. Music on, world off. Have a great weekend. I look forward to seeing you again on Monday as we share another time. Bay Area Let's Talk. Have a great weekend. God bless. Take care.